Just like Sarah was talking about CanLead serving as a hub for all of you wonderful leaders to communicate and share and learn in this online learning environment, there are similar science inquiry environments. And the one that we're going to look at today, just like Sarah was saying, is WISE, and it's the web-based inquiry science environment. So I just want to give you a little bit of a preview, because we're going to be going through this as students. I'm going to just get you guys all logged in and everything, and then we're going to go through it as a teacher. So I might be able to see exactly what you're doing. Just going to give you that a little bit of pre-notice, just in case some of your answers might come up. And then we're going to look at some of the teacher functionalities that's also there. So in just a minute, we'll have you go, and actually you can start to go to wise.berkeley.edu. So that'll take you to the main page. And once you get there, I'm just going to preview what the student screen is going to look like. So this is it's an online inquiry environment. And science teachers usually, of course, inquiries in the standards, right? So we've got to help students develop, conduct inquiry investigations. So what this does is it provides a scaffold or a complete guide, an online guide for students to conduct their own inquiry investigations. And so here on the left, there's an inquiry map for students, and it has steps for students to go to. They can go up and look at my work. It's like a scientific journal that logs all their work throughout the project. And these units are usually around 1 week. So they're sort of inquiry units that you can drop in for a week, and they're meant to be either replacement or capstone units. So this is one that you can see. They'll have different steps. One might be one where you have to figure out, well, a photosynthesis review. So this is actually a type of dynamic assessment for students to go through and use. Another step might be where they have to generate an explanation and they type it in and you can see it. So while I think everybody might be at the home screen, what we're going to do is create a WISE account as a student. So if you click on Create WISE account, is everybody there? Yay! So we're going to go through as students. So if you say create a student account, you're going to fill out your first name. And we usually have students go through in pairs. So if you guys would also like to go through in pairs, you should just have one person sign in. So my first name is going to be Princess, and my last name is going to be Leia, because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'll be a female. If you want to just keep your birthday January 1st, it's easy, because then it'll just go through one-on-one. And then type in a password. Mine will be Wise. And then my middle name is actually Maxine, so I'll put that in there. And so if you're access code, this is quite important. So what this does is links you as a student to me as a teacher. So this is used by hundreds of thousands of students worldwide. And so this access code is what is going to say to the program that all of you are in my class. And so if you put Lizard 329, you'll be going through a wonderful program on photosynthesis. So if you'd like to learn more about photosynthesis, put in this access code. If you would like to learn more about chemical reactions and global climate change, you can put in Shrimp 549 and go into that project. Okay? So I will be Lizard 329. So if you put in this and say show class period, it should just be class period number 1. So everybody's the first class period number 1. And then once you do that, you should say create account. And they're going to say, oh my goodness, there is already a Princess Leia. I did not know that. But I'm going to go ahead and create a new account. And here is my username. So it'll tell me my username. And what it usually is for students, for everybody as a teacher, is usually your first name, first letter, your last name, and then your birthday. So you can always kind of probe your students to remember it. So I put in my birthday as January 1st. And so that's why it's Princess L0101. And then you go ahead and sign in. And then it'll click Princess L101A. And then my password. And it'll sign in. And it'll warn you that if you're not using Firefox, it'll warn you that everything will be fine. And then once you get to the screen, let me know once everybody gets to the screen, or at least your partner gets to the screen. Somebody at your table will get to the screen.
Forgot your password already. Tiffany.
There's some sugar. Bring up the access code in case. And so this is how long it takes typically for the students to register at the beginning. So they're usually really good and can get on. They might lose their passwords, but it usually only takes about 5 to 10 minutes. So we've got this. Great. So we've got some more project runs, at least a couple per each. Almost at this table. Come by. All right, wonderful. So I think some of you have already done this. So if you run this, if you push run, once you get to the progress screen, what this does is we usually have students running in pairs. So if you say work with 1 or 2 teammates, you can actually link them and know who is actually working in a group. So you can attribute the group work to those specific students. Otherwise, you can have them go through by themselves as well. I'm just going to go through this. And then it should load up the student screen that we just had across here. So this is for photosynthesis. And so what we're going to ask you to do is actually go in and pretend you're a student. So if you don't mind, if you're either in chemical reactions or in photosynthesis, we are going to spend the next probably 10 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes going through, so you can sort of experience the WISE environment as a student. Okay? And so please let us know if you need any help getting in. And we'll come back in about 5 to 10 minutes. So what were some of the types of things that you guys did going through these projects? For those of people who didn't get to do chemical reactions, and for those people who didn't get to do photosynthesis. Sorry. Does anybody want to share? Maybe what they did?
Yeah, well, I did a little model of the greenhouse effect.
So you actually drew a model?
No, I used a model, a simulation. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, to do a little experiment.
Wonderful. So you're able to use a simulation to investigate the greenhouse effect. Fabulous. What about anybody else? Were there only models in there? Submitted a questionnaire? Yeah, all right. So you have to do something, like submit a questionnaire. Great.
It's a Dropbox.
There's a Dropbox?
Well, like a drag and drop.
Drag it
Yeah.
up.
Wonderful. So there are different types of ways. There's a drag and drop, right? Did anybody else have like fill in the blanks?
We also
Yes.
Yes, you have to fill in the
We
blanks.
struggled. We were the remedial group.
So fill in the blanks, wonderful. Anything else? So there are a whole bunch of stuff. I know you guys only got through maybe the first activity. So I want to show you, those are the suite of tools that are available. So just like CanLead, you can customize what you're going to take to your schools. In WISE, you can customize these lessons. So you can actually take these down and put in different types of activities if you'd like. So what I'm going to show you now, sign out. So I'm going to show you the teacher side. So this also has a back end. So if you log in as a teacher, then you can come through and you can see some Boba Fett. I don't know if that was from here. Some Laura Berry, Lynn Usain Bolt, if there's a Usain Bolt. Some other teams over here. And you can do the info, the password. So you can also grade by. You can also take a look at all of the work that you might have generated. This is why it takes a little bit of time. But you can go through and grade students' work by step. You can grade student work by the student. And you can see this progress, right? So for activity 1 in the climate change or chemical reactions, everybody saw it, right? But for steps 2, activity 2, I can see that here only like 45% of my class went through this one, only 36% of my class went through this. So you can sort of real-time monitor where students are going with the teacher tools, as well as clicking on the step and seeing the student work right here. And so this is one that I've done with other students. So there are some other students here. There might be some some other answers here, and you can score them. You can set pre-made comments, and you can also flag for some of the pedagogical periods, and you can say flag items only and hide personal information. And so what you can do is, after, say, the students go through one day of this, it's typically a week, right? You can say, all right, so here's the student work from yesterday. We know, class, what do you think is a good answer, right? And you can start to generate some criteria, or if you see a whole bunch of student answers that might need some help. Not that I'm going to say that because my mom said so isn't a good justification for why you might think so, but then you can start to address the range of answers that students might be saying the next time in class, right? So there are these sort of teacher tools on the back end, and then you can actually go in, if you're interested, and look at all the other projects, and then actually customize the projects as well. With that, let's go head back. Are there any questions so far? Any questions? No questions. Give us time.
I have a question, like,
I know.
as a teacher, how many of these models or, investigations are there that we can use? Do we create our own, or are they existing already?
So if you go to the website, if you go to the home page, actually, so let me change this, sign out. You can actually preview their projects here. And so they have earth science, life science, some physical science, biology, chemistry, and physics. So there are less than, say, the PhET site, right? Because these are whole inquiry modules. And so they're usually around stuff like heat and temperature, or climate change, or chemical reactions, some of these big topics that could serve, where you can maybe afford to spend a week on this specific, so we try to focus on the most, some of the focal concepts. So there are library projects that you can just do. You can always create your own. It's a little bit more difficult because it's kind of HTML-ish, but at the same time, it's actually that. And this is always free. Yeah. So this is a free resource. So if you notice, I don't know if you guys noticed, you guys seem to be pretty engaged. The students are typically really, once they start into it, they usually progress pretty well on their own. As a teacher, what do you think, what might be some of the affordances as a teacher for this type of tool or technology?
Some of what I didn't get.
Some of the affordances. So what would I be able to do as a teacher that I wouldn't do without this, perhaps? Wouldn't be able to do. Yeah, so actually it enables the formative feedback and the formative assessments can be pretty easily done in this, right? So that's a great point. Assessment of student thinking is pretty strong in here. Right? Another thing is, so we were talking about digital images, and we were talking about simulations, and we were talking about how you can't just plop them in front of students, right? You usually have to do some sort of instructional support around them. So that's what these are for too. They can kind of guide how you're interacting with those simulations. Another nice thing is, I don't know if you noticed, but all of us were able to go around and have conversations perhaps like 1 to 2 instead of 1 to 25. And I have to admit, so we run these in a lot of classrooms. Sometimes teachers sit back and grade, and we know that sometimes we got to get those grades done. So it kind of enables that flexibility, but we always encourage this as a rich time for the teachers to be able to move around and really get some formative assessment on an individual or a pairs of students level.
There's some ability to go at your own pace too, which I think is really helpful for students.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And then you can still track them as a teacher, so you know which students you might want to help. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, I like it. It's nice because it's broken down
Great.
into the real middle school.
You're not just, I know you're just saying that to be nice, but.
It's